Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am super excited to bring back the second video for the Christmas Zentangle challenge that I'm doing over here on my YouTube channel as well as my other social media platforms. And if you've been following my channel, then you know that the challenge is called JoyTangle. And you probably also remember me telling you that I am posting the videos much later than the actual challenge day, or the day on which I'm drawing, because I'm taking my own sweet time to edit these videos. But I have been drawing consistently every day, and I hope to publish all these videos very quickly. Now, moving on to our prompts for the challenge, we have 25 prompts, and for day 2 the prompt is Safflower, which is this beautiful tangle that I absolutely love working with. And I was actually very excited to use this as a prompt for the challenge. So this one is created by Sarah Fowler. I hope I'm pronouncing the name correctly. And the tangle is called Safflower. And I'm quickly going to now move on to the drawing portion to show you how exactly I used it on my composition. So what I love about this tangle is that it has this beautiful sort of like a bud like structure to it, but then it also reminds you of like the top portion of an asparagus, for example. So it has these little buds within a bud, and I love the fact that it can be created in so many different directions and that it can actually be mounted upon. So you can actually make this taller if you wanted to by just adding a few more of those petals or little sections. And for this composition, I thought it would be fun to have 2 or 3 of these, which can act as the focal point for the composition. And then we can use another tangle in the background, which can be like a filler tangle or something that can, go behind as like a wonderful background pattern. So yeah, so here you can actually see me adding the focal element, which is Safflower, our prompt for day 2. And you can of course embellish this in so many different ways, but one of my favorite ways to do this is with a line which is kind of going in the middle of the petal. And I do have another tutorial in which I think I've used a similar technique, which was part of my Duo Tangle series. So I'm going to put the link to that also somewhere in the video description. As I'm talking, you'll probably see a pop-up appear somewhere on the top right or the top left or somewhere. I'm also just going to put it in the description just to be safe. I'm still trying to figure out the ins and outs of how a successful YouTube video works. So anyway, on that note, if you're new to the channel, please don't forget to subscribe. I would really love to put out more tutorials for all of you. So if you're new here, please do subscribe. It would mean a lot to me, and that will just keep me motivated to push more tutorials out this month, next month, every day for the rest of my life. Okay. So once the main structure for the safflower was done, I moved on to adding this minimalist, beautiful tangle called Lichen, or I think it's called Lichen. I'm not 100% sure how to pronounce it, but what I really liked about this tangle is that, it has this minimalist quality to it, and at the same time, it's very graphic, and it reminds you of those geometrical forms, almost like constellations in a galaxy or in the sky. So I love that you can also customize the ends. So right now I'm using the triangular ends, but you can definitely branch these out and add different shapes to the ends of it, so to say. And you can actually make little hearts or stars or so many other, different fun shapes. So I love that it can grow in different directions. And so it's kind of like that mix between organic and graphic tangles. And the credit for this tangle actually goes to a German tangler, Jennifer Hohensteiner. I'm sorry. I'm not really good with a lot of pronunciations, but yeah, I'm just going to link the tangler's name in the description box along with the step out. So this one is again a very beautiful filler tangle which you can use in so many different colors, but over here I'm using it with a red pen to contrast with the green outlines that I have done for the Safflower. With my entire background filled up with the Lichen pattern, I decided to add a few dots because I find these to be the simplest and the most effective way to sort of embellish any spaces that you have in your composition. And I love the fact that they also add this joyful, festive vibe to the overall composition, and that's kind of like the theme that I'm going with this Zentangle challenge for Christmas. So this holiday season I'm trying to create art which is more joyful, more festive, has a lot of color in it, especially holiday colors, and I'm trying to avoid using black. So I find that little recognizable shapes like stars or hearts or dots and tiny circles like these can add to that playfulness and almost like a childish, innocent quality to your designs. So yeah, just adding a little bit of that. And then I moved on to embellish the safflowers. And for this, I decided to do a combination of red, gold, and green in no particular order. So it's pretty random. And I just decided to color the petals, each of them with a slightly different variation. I do like to go back on my original outlines to make the petals stand out a little bit more. So I like to do this after I have filled in the background pattern because then it gives me a better idea of how thick these outlines need to be. I usually start off with a thinner pen and then go back with the pen a second time, or I will use a thicker pen in my second round while making these outlines. And that's just to sort of build the composition up gradually rather than starting off with the thick pen in the first go and then regretting it later on. So here, as I have colored the stems with the darker color and I have created the outlines, I'm pretty satisfied now with the thicker, bolder outlines. And that's what I'm going to do for the other two safflower sections as well. Okay, at this point, the composition looked fairly complete to me, but I wanted to add in a few more details. And one of the things that I love to do in my compositions is to add these little gold stitch lines. I don't really know if there is a tangle that already exists with this kind of stroke, but I like to think of them as a running stitch. When you're stitching something or when you learn embroidery, there is this running stitch which goes with little dashes or little hyphens all across the section. So I like to add this with my gold pen, and I fill up the entire background, and I like to build up layers like this. And once that was done, I moved on to using my white jelly roll pen and just decided to embellish the Lichen triangles a little bit. Again, I'm still not 100% sure if it has to be pronounced Lichen or Lichen, and if Jennifer's name is Jennifer Hohensteiner or Hohensteiner. I'm not 100% sure, but hey Jennifer, if you're watching the video, just help us out with a little bit of info on this and just drop that in the comments below. And if any of you speak German, then I would love to know your thoughts also on how to pronounce these names, and just drop that in the comments below. So anyway, once my Lichen embellishments were done, I also added a few more tiny dots here and there, and you can actually see me embellishing the original circles also a little bit more. So I'm just kind of going back and adding outlines to a few of them, again just to build some contrast, because I have used a darker green pen in some sections and I want to balance that out with the lighter green as well as the red in the composition. So yeah, in certain areas I'm kind of just going back and adding outlines to the original green orbs, and also at the same time adding some smaller dots with that darker green pen. Now, these are of course like little embellishments which are, kind of like the salt to taste that you add to a recipe. So there is no right or wrong over here. It's purely personal. It's purely your personal aesthetic and creative choice on how much you want to embellish and how saturated or how dense you want each of your compositions to look. In my case, since I'm going for a joyful, festive, mix-matched, patterned approach, I'm adding like lots and lots of layers over here. But you don't have to do this if you feel that your composition was, fairly complete a few steps back. So anyway, so that finishes up my project for day 2, and it's time to remove the washi tape. And look at the clean, beautiful edges. And once the tape was out, you can see how beautiful the composition looked. It's almost like creating a format around the painting or around the composition. If you remember from my previous video, I'm struggling a little bit with these new washi tapes. I think some of them are just old stock, and some of them, I'm trying out for the first time. So on a couple of edges, the paper did get a little bit torn over here, but I think I'm just going to use heat and a hairdryer next time just to make sure that the glue doesn't tear off my paper. So anyway, you can now see day 1 and day 2 projects together, and I love that my series has started to build up beautifully. And I am very soon going to start editing day 3 video for all of you. So make sure that you subscribe to my channel and continue watching the series. And till then, keep creating. See you. Bye-bye.